We had a lot of questions about the universe, we got wrong answers. Now it's time for true answers. According to the mass law on physics, matter cannot appear or disappear although it can change shape. From where did the mass of all stars and all planets appear in our universe? Where do stars and planets disappear in the black holes? What created the sun? What is the mechanism work of the sun? Why does the energy of the sun never end? The force of gravity has no polarity. Why do planets move elliptically around the sun rather than circularly? Measurements show that the sun is growing. How can the sun grow without mass has been added to the sun? What causes the sun to spin around its axis? Why does the equator of the sun rotate faster than the poles? From where does the great twisting force in the sun, so that the equator of the sun rotates faster than the poles? Why are there huge explosions in the sun? Why is the sun's corona 300 times warmer than the surface of the sun? Is there a nuclear fusion within the sun that creates energy that never ends? If so, then why did all experiments fail to create nuclear fusion in laboratory conditions? From where is the constant speed of the planets orbiting the sun? From where did the stardust around the solar system come around our solar systems? What stardust contains? Let's start. Chapter 1, The Origin of the Universe. It's no wonder that the origin of the universe has not been discovered until now, it's complicated and complex to explain. Let's start from the end. Our universe was created by the explosion of a star in another universe. The explosion caused to create a black hole. Inside the black hole lies a new universe, our universe. The explosion was so massive that from the intensity of the explosion created distortion of time between the two universes. What happens in the other universe in an hour or two, in our universe passes millions of years. Because of the time distortion between the two universes, the mass that enters to our universe from the other universe is in the form of stardust. Here is the stardust. Stardust is around our solar system. Some of the masses changed chemical composition due to time distortion. The change in the chemical composition as a result of the time distortion caused the stardust to contain mass with a lot of gas and fuel. The black hole pours millions of years stardust into our universe. After millions of years of stardust flowing into our universe and as a result of friction, the mass was lit up and a small sun was created. This sun has been growing for millions of years. Stardust around the solar system is a testimony from the time when the sun was lit, but not all of the material lighted and united with the sun. Here is the other side of the black hole on the surface of the sun. The black hole creates fiery looping rain on the sun. Fiery looping rain on the sun mistakenly considered a ground eruption. Look here in slow motion. If fiery looping rain on the sun was a ground eruption, then the eruption would start from the sheer face of the sun. But as you can see, the eruption start from above. We do not see a mass rising up from the surface of the sun, upwards. We only see the fall of mass below. On the right side is also an exit from the black hole, but with another pipeline. In the eruption, it is clear that the fire burning oxygen. There is no oxygen in the sun. The oxygen that causes the fire comes directly from the black hole. Here you can see at the top of the loop, renewable energy with fire that burning oxygen. The mass passes through time distortion in the black hole to the sun. This appearance of fiery looping rain on the sun is a unique phenomenon which is perceived only one time by NASA SDO instruments in 2012. The permanent state of the other side of the black hole within the sun, being within the sun, in a position that is between the surface of the sun and the center of the sun. The other side of the black hole and the sun spill mass and energy to our universe. This actually explains the very existence of the suns and stars in our universe. That explains the origin of the universe. Cooling sun becomes to be a regular star. The fusion process in the sun explains the ball shape of the stars. That's similar to the molten glass that naturally gets a ball shape. That's why all the stars have a ball shape. The existence of the other side of the black hole in the sun explains the creation of our universe. This explains the claim that in another universe a star exploded, and from the force of the explosion our universe was created. This explains the formation of the sun and the stars. So explanation is given and no laws of mass in physics are violated. The mass does not disappear in the black holes, it only transmitted to another universe. Now for the first time there is a proof of the existence of other universes. By discovering the other side of the black hole on the surface of the Sun, we confirm the existence of the other universes. Chapter 2, The Effect of the Black Hole on the Planets. Gravity have no polarity. The orbits of the planets around the Sun should have been circular movement rather than elliptical movement as they are. We have to diagnose the force of the other side of the black hole. How does this power work? If the other side of the black hole has a pushing force, then that explains the mass that comes out from the black hole. But it raises the question, how the Sun and the black hole are attached together. If the other side of the black hole has pulling force, then how is it possible for the mass to get out from the black hole? And why does the other side of the black hole not pulling mass from the Sun? What force can be in the other side of the black hole, that it pulls the Sun keeping it is in the Sun, and also does not pulling mass from the Sun and also spills mass into the Sun? There are a triangle of forces. The gravity of the Sun. The gravity of the star in the other universe. The force of the black hole. The triangle of forces creates the phenomenon where the forces of gravity of the Sun and the gravity of the star in the other universe are pulling to stick together. The other side of the black hole is in the middle, having an independent force, pulling mass from the star in the other universe, through the black hole with time distortion, to our universe. Just like in this picture. In fact, we do not see the star in the other universe, but it exists and is close to the Sun. It is the one who pours mass and energy into the Sun and we do not see it. The triangle of forces creates the phenomenon in which even though the gravity of the star in the other universe works, a mass moves in one direction from the other universe into the Sun rather than the opposite direction. There is an imaginary rope connected to the Sun and a star in the other universe, that is gravity. It keeps the Sun that stays attached to the star. And there is the black hole with an independent force that moves mass from the star and transfers it to the Sun. The forces operate in parallel, and no one interferes with the actions of the other. Because of time distortion between the universes, there are short breaks in the flow of the mass, but the other side of the black hole is running all the time. The fiery lupine rain on the Sun was suddenly appeared because of unexpected internal movements between the Sun and the star in the other universe. That briefly left the other side of the black hole outside the Sun. The clear statement that the other side of the black hole is active all the time and does not stop its activity temporarily is because if the other side of the black hole stopped running, there would be many situations of fiery lupine rain on the Sun. It is also that the Sun could not exist because it was distance between the Sun and the other side of the black hole. Another reason that the other side of the black hole is active all the time is also because if the other side of the black hole was not active sometimes, then the equator of the Sun would not rotate faster than the poles. The permanent state is that the other side of the black hole is in the Sun, and the star in the other universe is close to it and pour energy into the Sun. Although the star's gravity in the other universe is millions of times smaller, and because of the physical proximity between the star in the other universe and the Sun, the planet's gravity in the other universe is added to the Sun's gravity. So the gravity of the star in the other universe added to the Sun's gravity. This force stay on the one side of the Sun. That force in one side of the Sun, change the motion of planets in our universe from circular motion to elliptical motion. The other side of the black hole is permanently on one side and does not pass to the other side. Because if it passed, then the rotation of the Sun around the axis would change direction to the other side and our seasons were changing and moving 6 months ahead. When the mass of the star in the other universe ends, there is no force to hold the black hole close to the Sun, and it moves away. This is because there is no gravity to keep the black hole attached to the Sun. The Sun cools and becomes to be a regular star. Chapter 3, How the Sun Works. Gas and fuel are injected into the Sun. Then why the Sun's corona is 300 times warmer than the surface of the Sun? It made more sense that the Sun would be much warmer than the corona. In principle it would have been true if only the gas and fuel could burn in the Sun, but that is not the case. Without the ability of the mass to burn inside the Sun, all the mass stay in the Sun. But in the Sun something extraordinary happens. The other side of the black hole is in the Sun, rotating it around the axis, injecting gas and fuel into it. The Sun is boiling and bubbling. As a result of the continuous flow of gas and fuel into the sun becomes saturated with gas and fuel. As a result of low specific weight of the gas and fuel compared to the mass of the sun, inside the sun the gas and fuel are floating. The mass of gas and fuel is much lighter than the mass of the sun. While the sun is bubbling, the gas and fuel rise to the surface of the sun, floating. The bubbling of the sun modulate the floating of gas and fuel to the surface of the sun. Therefore, the gas and fuel floating on all sides of the sun as uniformly as in a gas lamp. When lamp is turned on, an illusion is created that the entire glass shell of the gas lamp is burning. The same is in the sun. When the surface of the sun burns, the whole corona shell of the sun shines in a strong light as if the entire corona shell is burning. The external light is much higher than the light of the body amidst the gas. This explains why the sun's corona 300 times warmer than the surface of the sun. Chapter 4, Rotating the Sun Around the Axis. All the time the other side of the black hole is invisible in the sun. In fact, the mass injection activity of the other side of the black hole inside the sun causes it to rotate the sun around its axis. Because the force of the other side of the black hole is concentrated in the sun's equator, and because the sun is not solid, the sun's equator rotates faster than the poles. This is why the sun's equator rotates around the axis faster at 25 days to one circle, while the poles are slower and rotates for 35 days to one circle. When the other side of the black hole outside the sun creates a fiery looping rain on the sun. When the other side of the black hole is inside the sun but in the sun shell, it creates huge explosions. When the other side of the black hole is deep in the sun, it turns the sun around the axis and injects a mass of gas and fuel into the sun. Chapter 5, The Earth. The structure of the Earth in the shape of a ball, the internal heat in the Earth depth and the rotation of the Earth around the axis indicate that the Earth was created in the same procedure as the sun. That is why there is gas and fuel deep in the Earth. The process of producing the Earth, similar to the sun, created the Earth completely sterile. Life could not have been created in our universe. So where did life come from? All the planets circle around the sun at the same speed. The only force that could send stars at a fixed speed into space is the force of the black hole. Earth were moving in other Milky Way in another universe, entered into a black hole. Once Earth enters into the black hole, it begins to gain momentum and ejected from the black hole at the speed at which all planets were sent. There were no time distortion in that black hole. That's why the planets have a constant speed. After the planets reached our solar system, they became planets in our solar system. Life could not have been created in our sterile universe. The only possibility that life will reach Earth is that they came from other universe. Chapter 6, Black Hole from which the planets are sent. The location of the other side of the black hole where the black hole from which the planets are launched into our universe has not been detected until now. There is a difficulty in finding because the planets, just as in magic, suddenly appear in our universe. In one flash, the planet suddenly appears in our universe. In order to find the opening from which the planets were sent to our universe, a space telescope will have to look for glimpses where a planet suddenly appears. If life could pass through a black hole from somewhere else to our universe, there is no reason why life from our universe cannot pass through the same opening or artificial doorway to another universe. Chapter 7, The Milky Way Movement. The question: how can the other side of the black hole exist in the sun and in another universe, but the entire solar system is moving within the Milky Way? Today it is common to think that in the center of the Milky Way, tens of thousands of light years away from the solar system, is a supermassive black hole that is the cause of all the Milky Way's movement. There may be a supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way, but it is not the cause of the Milky Way movement. The Milky Way movement created from the movement of the universe that creates the sun. Because the universe that created our sun has movement in relation to our universe, the entire Milky Way in motion. The movement may be related to the time distortion between the universes. The other universe moves in relation to our universe, and all the black holes connected to the other universe move the suns and planets that are connected to them. The stars move in the force of inertia from the time they were suns and a black hole was attached to them. This option is much more reasonable than a mysterious force tens of thousands of light years away from our solar system. If there was really a massive superpower in the center of the Milky Way that moved all of the Milky Way, we would see a drifting motion of stars from not in the Milky Way, into the Milky Way. Now we see a regular and steady motion of stars within the Milky Way without drifting of stars from outside of our galaxy, to our galaxy, as it is today. In this way it can be said that all the stars and suns present in the Milky Way were created from the universe in which our Sun is created, and other galaxies that are not in the Milky Way were created in another universe. Chapter 8, Global Warming. Scientists predict that in another 500 years the Earth will not be habitable due to global warming. Global warming is attributed only to the increase in the use of the energy used for combustion and the greenhouse effect on Earth. Global warming caused by these causes can be stopped. There is another global warming, unfamiliar, stronger and more dangerous that not considered. Listen to this. The other side of the black hole injects stardust filled with the energy of gas and fuel into the Sun. Mass and energy is added to the Sun. The Sun's growing causes the Sun's size to grow. The Sun that grows increases the amount of heat that reaches the Earth. The amount of heat that reaches the Earth as a result of the Suns is the reason for global warming. But that's not all. The mass added to the Sun increases the mass of the Sun. The mass of the Sun that is grown increases the gravity of the Sun. The gravitational force of the Sun that grows pulling the Earth to the Sun with stronger force. Strong gravity of the Sun on Earth, brings the Earth closer to the Sun. That is why the Earth is approaching the Sun. The Earth that approaches the Sun causes more heat to reach Earth. These are the main causes of global warming of the Earth. The end of the Earth will burn and shatter on the Sun's surface and become part of the Sun. Chapter 9, Time Distortion. As a result of star explosion, a chain chronicle was created that caused time distortion. Time distortion between universes happens in a situation where one planet explodes, a black hole was created from the blast, and the black hole creates a new universe. From the force of the explosion, the mass of the exploded star was forced into the black hole, the new universe. But there was a problem. The explosion was so huge that the forces that inserted the mass into the black hole were much stronger than the capabilities of the new universe to absorb the mass. In the conflict of power, a new physical phenomenon that has not been known until now is revealed, time distortion. An equation was determined. Transition time of the entire mass of the star that exploded in the other universe to our universe will be distorted to the ability of our universe to absorb the mass in the first second. If, for example, a mass of a kilo from the star that exploded in the other universe passes in 1 second while in our universe it takes the mass to go through 3 years, then it is a distortion of about 100 million years. The distortion of time generated causes what happens in the other universe in an hour or two, to be in our universe for millions of years. All other next explosions that were in that universe, the time distortion remains constant from the first explosion. All the next stars that pass from the other universe to our universe pass at the same time distortion. That is why many suns are created in our Milky Way. Chapter 10, Making a Space Rift. The question arises, is it possible to make a space rift and enter other universes? A black hole is a rift of space into another universe. It is a fact. We need to examine the technological aspect and examine how a space rift can be performed. There are several types of black holes. The assumption is that black holes of different types perform different activities. There are 2 types of black holes whose operation is known. We know the operation of the black hole that causes time distortion, and the black hole that passes entire stars without time distortion. We are interested at this stage in focusing and creating a space rift to universe without distortion of time. We need to examine how a space rift can be made, to enter the universe without distortion of time. The matter of the type and amount of energy required, the necessary computing, the manpower, and the technologies needed to make space rift, we will leave for engineers. A significant jump in the way for making a rift in space is in understanding the process of creating the universe. In another universe a star exploded, a black hole was created. In the black hole lie our universe. The intensity of the explosion creates a distortion of time. In the first explosion, our universe was created with time distortion between the universes. If every explosion that can create new universe, creates a universe, then in our universe would have only one sun. but in our universe there are many suns. The second explosion in the other universe did not create a new universe, a new sun was created in our universe. Because our universe has many suns, we are determined that in the second explosion a new sun has been created in our universe, and no new universe has been created. In the second explosion, no new universe was created, which means that the threshold for penetration into exist universe is significantly lower than the threshold for a new universe. According to this photo of a star explosion in another universe and the formation of a black hole, we see that the area A, which is the diameter of the black hole, is significantly smaller than the area of the diameter of the exploded star. In the first explosion in which our universe was created, the entire space of the star stood in front of the new universe to break a new universe. In this explosion we see that the hole in the black hole is smaller, about 100 times less the diameter of the exploded star. Conclusions. In order to create a new universe, 100 times more power is required than the threshold for breaking into an existing universe. Space rift can be made in laboratory conditions that will allow passage to other universes. As we try to enter another universe, there is no fear that we will create a new universe. The existence of other universes until now was only the imagination of writers without any proof. By discovering the other side of the black hole and the sun, we confirm the existence of other universes. It is not yet known how to avoid entering another universe in which there is a distortion of time between the universes, because the logic in which the connection between the universes is unknown. Chapter 11, The Need to Artificially Space Rift. Scientists say global warming, the loss of natural resources and the explosion of population on Earth are the reasons that in 500 years the Earth will not be habitable. There is an urgent need to find an alternate planet. We think the situation is worse because it is a global warming accelerated by the increased gravity of the sun that draws the Earth closer to the sun. As of today, there is no transportation vehicle that can send even one person to a habitable planet. In fact, there is no known planet habitable anywhere in our universe. There is a planet in the Alpha Centauri solar system called Proxima b that may be habitable. We cannot get there at all. Cameras will send in another 20 years and it will take them another 20 years to get there. Meaning that in the best case in 40 years we will get preliminary information about a planet that may be habitable. It is only about cameras, there is no practical possibility to send a living person to this planet. Big chances are that Proxima b is not habitable. Humanity, through space agencies in the world, have been trying for years to connect with intelligent life outside our solar system, without success. If there were intelligent lives at distances of 100 or even 1,000 light-years from Earth, there is no doubt that at least we would receive back messages. In the absence of a sign of life, we must stop focusing on the search for intelligent life in our universe. We must exhaust our possibilities. Another claim is that there will be no ability for mankind in the next 500 years to reach distance of 100 light-years away. This determination is based on the rate of development of technologies in the last 100 years on Earth. We must find other ways, we must try other possibilities, in other universes. Other universes exist, it's a fact. Humanity has the technological means to carry out a rift in space. This is a fact. When life on Earth was divided into continents, each continent had a life of its own. Human development was small and slow. When all continents united and became connected by easy transportation and knowledge that was available to everyone, the development of mankind grew and became accelerated. The vision in which we unite with intelligent life in other universes fits well with the continuation of the natural process of development of humanity. Entering other universes, little scary, just like the first flight on an airplane, but then you get used to it and do not understand how the world was before. The remaining forecast for humanity to live on Earth only 500 years because of global warming. Although not thinking the other side of the black hole in the sun, the temperature rise on the Earth corresponds to the effect of the other side of the black hole and the sun. Therefore, 500 years is an agreed time that remains for Earth to be habitable. According to the speed of development of technologies, we are at the upper limit where we must find a habitable planet. We must look for a habitable planet in places where we can also get there, and not just watch the planet from distance. Chapter 12, Nuclear Fusion. Is there a nuclear fusion in the sun? In order to answer the question, it is necessary to understand what the amounts of gas and fuel that are injected to the sun by the other side of the black hole. We must to check if there are enough gas and fuel injected to generate the energies produced from the sun. Maybe there is a need of process of nuclear fusion that completing the energies. The information about the amount of gas and energy that flows into the sun is based on one video short of the fiery looping rain on the sun. In one short video for 4 minutes we see a mass entry and a tremendous fire of gas and fuel. This amount of energy in a continuous manner can certainly generate the energies produced from the sun without the need for nuclear fusion. The assessment relies on continual flow of mass injected into the sun. There is no doubt that the sun is saturated with gas and fuel all over the sun. We see gas and fuel flow into the sun. There are explosions on the sun that have nuclear hydrogen explosions that release a lot of energy. It is believed that there is an incessant process of nuclear hydrogen explosions that actually generate the nuclear fusion process. This belief is not aware of a new mass entry into the sun, all the time. There are procedures for decomposing nuclear hydrogen into the sun, but these are blowing up new materials and not creating new energy. The processes of hydrogen nucleation cracking are consecutive but do not generate an endless chain of explosions and power of themselves. Therefore, these explosions create the illusion that the entire sun creates clean energy of its own. These explosions are in a final process and are not the source of the sun's heat. Therefore, there is fusion in the sun as a result of heat and there is a nuclear fusion illusion without nuclear fusion within the sun. The goal of creating clean and cheap energy by nuclear fusion in laboratory conditions will not succeed. Nuclear fusion is an unproven theory that ignores the other side of the black hole in the sun. Even physicists agree that there is no known process of cold fusion that has succeeded, and it seems that such a process is impossible. This is why all efforts and attempts to make cold fusion, that is nuclear fusion in laboratory conditions, have failed. Chapter 13 Did God create the universe? There is a complexity of physical phenomena that occur in a natural way. A complex system without a hand that planned it all from the start is really not possible. Even if there is no God in the ways we know or in a way that is attributed to God, there is no doubt that the whole universe and the creation of life were designed by some intelligence. Only by looking at creation within the earth begs the question of the existence of God. The creation of the sun and the stars increases the question and makes it an existing fact about the existence of some intelligence force. It is possible that the creator of Genesis does not exist anymore, but the process he built and the fruit seeds he created continue to bear fruit. Chapter 14 Summary. In order to bring the truth about our universe, we must examine the all of the universe and the solar system. The first law of mass: material cannot appear or disappear although it can change shape. So then if stars can suddenly disappear in black holes, they can also appear suddenly out of a black hole. We must to look at the entire solar system. Stardust around the solar system, the elliptical movement of the planets around the sun. We must wonder about the energy source of the sun, we must wonder about the very existence of the sun. Everything is here from the beginning. All the evidence for the appearing of the universe are here. Process happened. A star exploded in another universe, it created a black hole. Inside the black hole lie our universe. From the intensity of the explosion, a distortion of time was created between the two universes. Time distortion between the two universes caused what happens in an hour or two in the other universe, in our universe go millions of years. As a result of time distortion, the mass entering our universe from the other universe is in the form of stardust. Here is the stardust around our solar system. Stardust flows into our universe for millions of years. Stardust contains mass, gas, and fuel. As a result of the friction, the mass was lit and a small sun was created. The mass of stardust around the sun was united. The mass of stardust that left around the solar system is evidence from the days when the sun was lit, but not all of the mass was united with the sun. The sun has been growing for millions of years. Many years later, planets were launched from another universe and captured by the gravitational force of the sun. These are the planets in our solar system. The evidence for the invention of the black hole in the sun, the energy of the sun, the increased thermal activity in the equator of the sun, the elliptical rotation of planets around the sun, the very existence of the sun, The existence of stardust, the main thermal activity in the equator of the Sun rather than the poles. Look here, the other side of the black hole, it starts from the top and there is a procedure of burning gas with oxygen. Up there is renewable energy with fire, oxygen burning that only an external source can provide for it. All these led to a clear conclusion: there is a black hole in the Sun. The other side of the black hole turns the Sun around the axis, it makes the Sun's equator to move faster than the poles. The other side of the black hole causes nuclear explosions outside the Sun. The other side of the black hole causes elliptical motion of the planets around the Sun. The other side of the black hole provides gas and fuel energy to the Sun. The black hole causes huge explosions on the surface of the Sun. The gravity between the Sun and the star in the other universe causes the other side of the black hole to be in the Sun. The star in the other universe is close to the Sun and connected by the gravity of the Sun and the star in the other universe through the black hole. Because of the other side of the black hole and the Sun, we get an explanation for the origin of the universe. We get an explanation for measurements that show that the Sun is growing. The Earth has gone through the same process as the Sun, so we get an explanation of the gas and fuel in the depths of the Earth. Now there is an explanation for global warming. Of all these understandings, there is proof of the existence of other universes. The Sun's corona is warmer than the surface of the Sun because the Sun is running on gas and fuel that are burning outside the Sun. The Sun is saturated with gas and fuel. Gas and fuel floating out to the surface of the Sun, burning the corona. This is why the Sun's corona is warmer than the body of the Sun. The statement that this is fuel and natural gas within the Sun is because the Earth is formed in the same way as the Sun and we have the same gas and fuel deep inside the Earth. All the planets move at the same speed. A black hole is the only power we know in our universe that can cause stars to speed up and become planets. Stars entered a black hole and came out as planets. This explains the constant speed of the planets in our universe. It is also the only possibility that life will appear in our universe. There is no process called nuclear fusion. Attempts to perform nuclear fusion in laboratory conditions failed. In the Sun there is a normal fusion and it is created from the energies of gas and fuel from the black hole and the Sun. The other side of the black hole and the Sun injects gas and fuel into the Sun that drives an endless fusion process into the Sun. There are nuclear explosions of hydrogen similar to nuclear hydrogen bombs, but in final process. These explosions are caused by the dissolution of the mass that enters the Sun from the other side of the black hole. Nuclear explosions, which look like nuclear hydrogen bombs, are in processes that end and are not used as the main operating engine of the Sun. When the other side of the black hole stops injecting stardust into the Sun, the fusion stops, the Sun cools and becomes a regular star. There is no doubt that there is a guiding hand that created and directed the universes to contain life. It is possible that the guiding hand no longer exists, but the whole is still present and functioning. Our universe is in the chain of universes of Milky Ways. At the center of the Milky Way is the passage of entire stars without distortion of time between the universes. Look at the shape of the Milky Way, now look at the shape of the black hole, are not they similar? Black holes in another universe seem to dictate the motion of the Milky Way.